Agence France Presse is an international news agency headquartered in Paris, France. Founded in 1835 as Agence. It is the world's oldest news agency. AFP has regional headquarters in Nicosia, Cyprus, Montevideo, Uruguay, Hong Kong, China and Washington, D.C., United States, and news bureaus in 151 countries in 201 locations. AFP transmits stories, videos, photos and graphics in French, English, Arabic, Portuguese, Spanish, and German. Agence France Presse has its origins in the Agence Agence, founded in 1835 in Paris by Charles-Louis Agence, making it the world's oldest news service. The agency pioneered the collection and dissemination of news as a commodity, and had established itself as a fully global concern by the late 19th century. Two Agence employees, Paul Julius Reuter and Bernhard Wolff, set up their own news agencies in London and Berlin respectively. In 1940, when German forces occupied France during World War II, the news agency was taken over by the authorities and renamed Office Français d'Information. Only the private advertising company retained the name Agence. On the 20th of August 1944, as Allied forces moved on Paris, a group of journalists in the French resistance seized the offices of the FIO and issued the first news dispatch from the liberated city under the name of Agence France Presse. Established as a state enterprise, AFP devoted the post-war years to developing its network of international correspondents. One of them was the first Western journalist to report the death of the Soviet leader Joseph Stalin. On the 6th of March 1953, AFP was keen to shake off its semi-official status, and on the 10th of January 1957, the French Parliament passed a law establishing its independence. Since that date, the proportion of the agency revenues generated by subscriptions from government departments has steadily declined. Such subscriptions represented €115 million in 2011. In 1982, the agency began to decentralize its editorial decision-making by setting up the first of its 5 autonomous regional centers in Hong Kong, then a British dependent territory. Each region has its own budget, administrative director and chief editor. In September 2007, the AFP Foundation was launched to promote higher standards of journalism worldwide. The Mitrokhin archive identified 6 agents and 2 confidential KGB contacts inside Agence France Presse who were used in Soviet operations in France. In 1991, AFP set up a joint venture with Exter to create a financial news service, AFX News. It was sold in 2006 to Thomson Financial. In October 2008, the government of France announced moves to change AFP's status, including the involvement of outside investors. On the 27th of November of that year, the main trade unions represented in the company's home base of France, the CGT, Force Ouvrière, Syndicat National des Journalistes, Union Syndicale des Journalistes CFDT and SUD, launched an online petition to oppose what they saw as an attempt to privatize the agency. On the 10th of December 2009, the French Culture Minister Frédéric Mitterrand announced that he was setting up a committee of experts under former AFP CEO Henri Piguet to study plans for the agency's future status. On February 24, 2010, Pierre Louet unexpectedly announced his intention to resign as CEO by the end of March and move to a job with France Telecom. In November 2013, AFP and Getty Images were ordered to pay $1.2 million compensation to freelance photojournalist Daniel Morel for using his images posted on Twitter related to the 2010 Haiti earthquake without his permission, in violation of copyright and Twitter's terms of service. The current CEO and chairman is Fabrice Friess and the global news director is Phil Chetwynd. In 1983, the Londra Prize was awarded to Patrick Mene. Back in 1980, he worked for Me in the USSR and wrote a series of articles about 600 French people who were forcibly detained in the Gulag after World War II. In 1984, his book, Les Mains Coupées de la Tiger, was published. In 1988, Sami Ketz received the Next Laundrer Award, together with his colleague from the Liberation Movement, Serge Chalendon. He covered the events of the Libyan civil war for 6 years. On October 17, 2014, AFP International Director Michel Léridon received the Investigation and Reporting Award at the International Congress of Journalism and Information. Michel Léridon sat the author of the article, covering ISIS, which was posted on the agency blog. In December 2014, Boulogne Kilik was named Time magazine Photojournalist of the Year for his coverage of events in the Middle East and Europe. The photographer received the same knowledge from the Guardian newspaper AFP Graphics in 1988. The agency has its own department of infographics, AFP Graphics, which today creates about 70 graphics per day, according to the information provided by the agency website. Thematically, infographics have the following distribution: 31% politics, 27% economics, 18% sports, 12% society, 10%